Ladies, hi. I am Artemis, and I am the creatrix of Goddess Juice. I don't know what else to call it. It's a approach to bringing ravishment into your life. So I wanted to talk for my first one about something I am calling reclaiming ravishment, and it was brought to the surface by a comment from a friend of mine who I really hope she watches this, but I'm not going to name her. Who made a comment after I posted to my bio on YouTube. Oh, no, not on YouTube. On Facebook and on Instagram. And I'm not sure which one she saw. Anyway, I posted my bio, which is I help driven women tap into pleasure and yearning so that they can allow themselves to have a life full of ravishment as their everyday reality. So, what do you think of when you think of the word ravishment? I think that's a good place to start, right? I feel like what comes to mind for me is this passion and surrender and this like dance of need and yearning and longing and want that allows the everyday mundane experience to become sacred in its intensity, that allows the everyday life existence from moment to moment to reach what I would call a fuck yes level. It allows you to actually be satisfied in life instead of just living a hollow version of going through the motions and doing what you believe because you've been told is the way to be happy. I believe that ravishment is the key to transcending that fleeting aspect of happiness. Because for me, I've always been focused on I've learned through the years to be focused on satisfaction. And that is supremely different than addressing a level of happiness. Like, what makes you happiest? So what makes you forget everything going on, or what releases you from it? Why do you want to be released from your life? That's the hardest part, is like, we live in a world where it has been normalized to want to be released and like let go from your life. We've reached a place where, and this is what my friend brought to my attention. If you look up ravishment definition, there will be something at the top there that I do not actually associate with ravishment. I get why the algorithms have associated with them. But I mean, yes, there is this level of violence to fully owning everything that you are, but there is a level of violence to the human experience. I mean, think about birth. Think about how you come into this world. Now, this is the thing. Birth has been shifted. It's not natural and primal and verging on violence anymore. It's medical, it's surgical, it's planned. It happens when you tell the baby is coming out. There is nothing about surrender to it. But I can tell you, as someone who was born, I was born at home with a midwife. My sister was born at home with a midwife. And I will tell you bluntly, that was the best birth control that I ever had, was watching my sister be born and going through all of that. Like the age of 6, you don't know, like, that imprints. So you don't go through that unless you really want to go through that. Versus, like, we hear stories about like women going through birth and it's completely planned and they pretty much just sleep through the whole thing. Versus me, like, I had planned a hypnobirth in a water birthing center. And then I just went preeclamptic because I puked the whole 8 months. But goodness, wasn't that violent? Like, if you think about it, like puking for 8 months to the point of dehydration multiple times and having to end up going through facing like my birth process with my daughter. That was something I could have never even imagined that I would go through. It was so intense and terrifying. It was literally like someone took a page out of my deepest nightmares that I had never even fathomed to be capable of being reality and made it my life for 9 months. And then it all like erupted in this one day. That was just everything I didn't want my birth experience to be. But that is a great association with it. Why are we taking the teeth out of reality? Why are we taking the extremes? Yes, extremism is not a smart way to navigate the world. However, it is absolutely, hi, beautiful. How are you? It is absolutely something that, in order to lead a satisfying life and transcend mere moments of happiness, you have to fully allow all of it to come through. And what's interesting is my daughter's been going to a therapist recently, and because my daughter doesn't like to talk that much, and she's really slow to open up to people, which is something I've always allowed, let her do that. Why not? So she doesn't really talk as much. Like, he's very slowly allowing her to get to know him and trust him, which is brilliantly smart. So he and I, for most of the time that we're there, just talk about, various things to do with her, various things to do with life, just getting to know each other. I feel like that's an important part when you're doing that type of establishing a relationship with a therapist, is you establish a relationship with a therapist. As much as I'm all about, the therapies where you can do it without that established trust, where the trust is already inherent because you're coming to them because you are aware of the results that they can get you. And I love doing that stuff. And I love being able to just offer that to people and give that to people. Like, hey, come to me. I can do this. We can give you this and we can fix this. To your level of commitment to this, we will fix this. I feel like that's any relationship, but sometimes you can just sort of cut through the crap. Anyway, so we were talking about this, and it was just something that was on my mind. And what was very interesting is he was the one who was like, yeah, you don't want to get into the trap of positivity. Like, and we talked about that. And I think this is where it came up, because I was like, yeah, there's this. What did we talk about? Because there was something that, anyway. So brought up the whole thing of ravishment, and he jumped. He was like, no, yeah. He was the one who offered me that. He's like, ravishment. He's like, violence. And I was like, yeah. He's like, well, the human experience is violent. He's like, literally, think about birth, think about death, think about like all of the points in between, like where you're having to drag yourself out of this feeling of being caught in the mire. And like, in order to move forward with your life, you have to become almost violently ruthless with yourself in your commitment to whatever you're moving towards, as you're pulling yourself out of whatever you were in. Because, and that is what made it so interesting. That is what made it so fascinating to see Ravishment, definition, and then the thing that's right on top of there that I am hesitant to mention because I'm a brand new person. This is a brand new one. So anyway, just go look it up and you'll find out what I'm talking about. And this is why my friend messaged me and was like, you need to change that word in your bio. And I was like, wait, what? I'm not doing that. Like, and then what was even more interesting is as I was looking at it, I was like, this is exactly why I named it this. And my business coach, it was interesting because I was on a group call as this was happening. She goes, like, this message came in and we were like laughing because she's like, she had the same opinion. It's that same thing of like, this is that polarizing word. And this is why it's polarizing. And this is why you're drawn to work with it. Ravishment. You wouldn't think that it would have such a polarizing quality, but it's an all-encompassing word. And it's something that triggers our society. Our society is on a rampant bleh of censoring anything based on very limited understanding and very skewed perspectives, because that's what is censoring us, is the AI systems and the algorithms that are very clunky. And they don't have to be clunky like that. It's just we don't know how to monitor or even censor ourselves or become aware of ourselves or how to put those parameters on things. And it's something that I've watched TED Talks on, because like the things that my daughter interacts with when she's going on YouTube, there are some terrifying kids' YouTube videos. Like, I'm scared of them. Anyway. But it was actually, there was a fascinating TED Talk, and I'll have to go find it and link it in the bottom, about how the AI systems that we're using do not actually understand what goes on in our lives outside of the social media aspect. So there's this limited ability and we're being censored by these entities, consciousnesses, I don't know if we're going to call them that, by these systems that do not actually understand being human. And I believe that is the root of it, but it is rooted in this like desperate need to rein ourselves in, this desperate, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like we're so terrified of how we're destroying ourselves that we're perpetuating the process of destroying ourselves because we don't understand ourselves. And I think that is the root of why I became obsessed at such an early age. Ooh, there was a perfect word for it that this one YouTuber said. Existential. She said it's a form of OCD, which I was like, I don't think I have OCD, but I do absolutely have an obsession with understanding the universe and understanding, the way that we fit within the universe and the way that each individual person has a unique and absolutely individuated, irreplaceable, absolutely uncopyable, unique essence to the way that they are part of this universe. And that's what I love. Like, that is literally what I float around this world, enjoying just for the sake of it, offering to people. And I think that is the hardest part about trying to monetize myself as a coach, try how to monetize myself as a business person, as a person who is wanting to be taken seriously as someone with a transformation to offer people. Is in order to be taken seriously, there has to be an exchange of energy. You have to pay in some sort of way to ask. You have to ask through offering, through sacrifice of energy in order to commit and on a like neurological level, believe the value of what you're buying into in order to receive the transformation from some other person or from something. And as much as I fully understand that and I fully embrace that, I fully am online with that understanding. There is this part of myself that is lost to surrender. And maybe this is why I want to bring up the ravishment thing. Maybe this is why that this is part of my journey too. Because I have been realizing in the process of putting together this program how much I am afraid of that level up. I am afraid of the destruction of what has been, as much as there is this longing, there is this need, there is this deep yearning to reach that next level point. The reality is, in order to reach that, I have to kill off everything that is not in support of that reality. Emerging as the who, the quantum who that I am, in order to be that person living that reality. And that is the hardest part of transformation. The hardest part is believing that you can trust yourself in order to get there. But that's where you work with the unconscious. That's why I love the modalities that I've acquired and use, because you work with the subconscious. You work with the programming behind the projector, creating the holographic reality that you're in. And when you jump over the consciousness, jump over the conscious aspect of your person, and you go into the deep well, and you work with that unconscious part of yourself. And maybe this is why. Maybe this is why this is all about reclaiming our willingness to be ravished. Because it's something in our deep programming that has made us terrified of ourselves, of each other. But what is the reason for that? Like, really, is it just because because the research, okay? The research is showing that the core of resilience, which was not defined until very recently, is the meaning. The meaning that you give. That is the difference between a traumatic experience and an experience that makes you who you are, that defines you in a positive way, as someone who surmounts as the hero of the story. The meaning that you affix, the meaning that you affix to ravishment will dictate to your subconscious whether or not you are willing and able and receptive to being pulled open and ripped alive into your new life. It is about how you are able to transcend. It is through the curation of meaning of our experiences in our life that we transcend the moment-to-moment experience that is trying to threaten us into pulling us under. One more time, because that was really good. It is the meaning that you give to your willingness. Oh, I just lost it. Hi, I'm Artemis. I have ADHD. And it is 8 p.m. at night. Anyway, I'll have to go look back and take a little clipping of that, because that was good. So, it is through meaning that we create the ability to transcend things. And it is through transcendence that we become unfuckwithable. And it is through becoming unfuckwithable by the meaning that we give the moment as we are transcending the moment and looking at the circumstances and rewriting it to be whatever we want it to be. That we allow ourselves to step up from our current reality, from our current level of consciousness, from our current operating level. And it is only then that we can stop cheating ourselves out of the full experience that ravishment is. We have this incredible superpower to tap into. This is why we are God, once we own that. This is the essence of what Jesus was really trying to tell us, and what all of the different prophet type people in every single different religion were trying to get us to understand. We are God in fractal form. And it is only through that claiming of the fullness of our self, I am the universe and the universe is me. I am. Because I am the universe. And because I am, the universe is me. That feeling of being cracked open, that feeling of cracking yourself open, that feeling of moving past the limitations of the human experience is found when you connect with your inner God or inner goddess, and you allow that juice to flow. You allow that momentum to be what lathers your experience and allows you to move along. My question for you: are you willing to stop cheating yourself out of the full experience, out of fear of being violent, of being hurt, out of fear of consequences for the circumstances if you don't honor them? Or are you going to continue to live a mundane life in a small box? Are you ready to tap into your pleasure? Are you ready to feel something new? Are you ready to feel what you've always been feeling calling you? Are you ready to live that life? That life that you feel well up in your chest, that you find yourself dreaming about, that you feel repeating in your head over and over again, that you've felt since childhood. Are you ready to live the best version of yourself, the best version of your life? Are you ready to become more? Are you going to sit within the confines of labels that AI systems and large corporations like the GOOGLE want to imprint on you to be afraid of? Are you going to allow the programming to program you to be fearful of living fully and being cracked alive by the experience of everything in life? Are you going to stumble through your mundane life half asleep because nothing is exciting enough? To have fun, you must depress yourself. Or are you ready for a higher level of experience? Are you ready for that level up? Are you ready to understand how reality works and to transcend What is in front of you? What is behind you? Are you ready to rework your memories? Because memories are just a story you tell yourself over and over again. And it is proven through research that every time you access a memory, you rewrite it a little bit. The first time that you access a memory is the only time that it is authentic. And after that, it's just the story that you've put emphasis and focus on to feed that evidence of the beliefs that you already believe. So what beliefs do you need to be absolutely done with in order to step out of the patterns that you are horrified that you keep on facing? When we tell you that if you're noticing a pattern, when you hear that if you're noticing a pattern, it's something within you, and you go, oh, but I'm not like that. There is a belief that you established. There is a belief at the core of you. And what is so interesting is going through RTT training, I have met so many people who, and what's interesting is I totally can fit this myself because I have not transcended some of it either. I'm still in process. But I look back and I think, and I like reflect on myself even, 3 months ago about how I responded to things. Gosh, change is so fast. But you look at people who even study and understand how the mind works, and there's still this resistance. There's still this leaning into victimization, which, yes, it is necessary to validate the pain that you went through. But to dwell in the victimization process, go into victimhood. That's where it becomes a catch-22. That's where you cut yourself off at the knees just as you're starting to stand up. You are the one who creates your reality. I am the one who creates my reality. I am the one who allows myself to be available for things. I'm the one who responds. There's a quote directly in front of me that I had forgotten for a while. I don't even know if it's a quote. It's just something that I found. Before you respond to someone, remember that your response is also your agreement to establish an energy connection with them, which can change your energy field and vibrational frequency. Every time you allow yourself to be available to something or someone, you are allowing it to enter your energy field, and you are allowing it to impact your frequency. And if you are not actively going through the process of being conscious of your thoughts, your feelings, and circumstances as something that is separate from what you're manifesting and creating in your life, if you are not in the habit of transcending the circumstances and the conditions in front of you, if you are allowing what is in front of you to fuck with you in any way, shape, or form, that is succumbing to the programming of the reality around you and letting fear be the guide. You're never going to get rid of fear. It's about feeling it and observing it and seeing it and transcending your typical reactions. It's about holding yourself to never settling just because it's what you believed you could have. And that is the process of reclaiming ravishment into your life. That is the process of reconnecting to pleasure. That is the process of claiming back your birthright. Ravishment is our birthright. I will go so far as to say that. I mean, think about it. Ravishment. You're ravishing. To let something ravish you. It's to let something come through you and completely change you and alter you. Take over you. God, I'm getting chills. Anyway. This has been a little rambling, huh? First video down. Who knows how many to go. Talk to you soon.